definitely going to see some play over its lifespan, and it's definitely going to cause a lot of headaches for people.
It's definitely already appearing in mono black beatdown lists. We've seen this deck pick up some popularity. It's a really powerful Magic card, and if your opponent isn't able to kill it or get some blockers into play, it can run away with the game, and bestowing it's very powerful as well.
Now, this is a little ironic because Vang is actually playing a deck that I would typically see Jeff play.
He's even got the one Prognostic Sphinx.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a Jeff
really
bug deck.
Weird. Lifebane Zombie, Courser, Caryatid, Reaper, the one Prognostic Sphinx, which, as we did mention, Jeff normally plays in his bug deck to go along with Abrupt Decay, Thoughtseize, Hero's Downfall, a single Cyclonic Rift, a couple Planeswalker, and Jason Kiora, along with a singleton Vraska. You see Hoogland attacking here with Spiteful Return, dealing 3 points of damage. Now there's a Witchstalker. So this is a bit of a brew on both sides of the table.
And Witchstalker is a reasonably powerful card against a variety of decks. Also, it's a great bestow target, obviously, having Hexproof.
Lifebane Zombie, the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman misses. You see Hoogland's hand. He's got another copy of Spiteful Return in his hand. Taking on with Abrupt Decay and Underworld Connections and a Temple of Abandon. If you're T, you're probably wondering, okay, what the heck is going on over there?
What on earth is going on?
And I think that's what Jeff actually wants the opponent to be thinking, is here's a Temple of Abandon. It's time to scry.
And the red in this deck, in the main deck, only for 3 copies of Rakdos Return. Another finisher. Rakdos Return also just incredibly powerful against a lot of slow decks.
Abrupt Decay going to get that Lifebane Zombie off the table, and here's an attack for 6 from Hoogland. So already Vang is down to 11.
Spiteful Return's the real deal. That card looks innocuous, but it's going to do a lot of damage over its course in Standard.
Yeah, I don't know the best home for that card, but there's no way that card isn't going to be good, just because of the flexibility, the mana cost, just everything that card can do. The fact that it's black to dodge a card like Doomblade, here's a Courser plus a land. Top card for Vang's deck should be revealed, and it will be in just a moment, of course.
Yeah, I think it's good now, quite frankly. And this is a great creature to put it on.
Witchstalker's a 4/4. Spiteful Return trigger, so at least 2 is coming across here. It's going to knock Vang down, and there really isn't a good block. I mean, he could be on chump blocking duty. That's really about it. You see Jeff kind of explaining to him exactly how this works.
Yeah, I think he's clarifying that he's not attacking with the unbestowed copy. He's simply attacking with the Witchstalker.
And there's a Golgari Guildgate there from Hoogland before passing the turn back.
Golgari Guildgate, the Jeff Hoogland Invitational card.
We see that one a lot from him. Between him and Brian Kibler, there are some really good players trying to make fetch happen. They've just been having some difficulty.
I bet they cannot wait for their green-black Scryland.
Temple of Rot. That's what I'm going to call it. I just got a feeling that's the name of that card.
Temple of Compost.
Also acceptable.
I doubt it's called that.
Well, there's a Temple of Mystery in Vang's hand. There's also a copy of Reaper of the Wilds, too. So Reaper is actually pretty good on this board.
The issue is that T is very close to just getting burned out. That's the other angle that Spiteful Return has.
Yeah.
When it goes uncontested, it's an incredible amount of damage. And even when it is contested, when you have a bunch of them in play, you can close out a game that way.
T going to play the Reaper in the land before passing the turn back. You see Hoogland's going to take a look at Reaper. Even though I'm pretty sure Jeff is familiar with that one. Just wants to make sure he knows exactly what it does as he does draw a card for the turn.
And even if the game slows down a little bit, Jeff can just go with the Underworld Connections route as well. So he's got a lot of ways he can play this game out.
Looks like he might be deploying Connections this turn, and he is. It's going to go in the Forest. Now he's going to pay a life to draw a card. So he feels like, I need a little bit more help to push through this Reaper of the Wilds. Draws a copy of Temple of Malice.
Yeah, and he has another copy. You could, for example, find another copy of Spiteful Return, or a Boon Satyr would be excellent here as well.
Yeah. Jund Bestow. Interesting deck here from Hoogland, but they're always interesting from Jeff.
He could really use, something. A kill spell would be very good here, as would just another bestow creature.
He's going to deal 4 points of damage. Looks like he's going to turn Death Touch on from the Reaper. You see the blocks. And I think Jeff's thought process here is, okay, so these things are all going to trade, and then I'm left with a Spiteful Return that can attack for lethal. Problem here, of course, is that Vang has a Hero's Downfall on top of his deck. There were a couple scry triggers there from the Reaper. I think Vang just decided he's going to leave the Hero's Downfall on top because that takes care of the problem card. There's a Prognostic Sphinx on top.
Prognostic Sphinx also appeared in the winning Blue Splash White Devotion list from last week.
Travis Harrison just won in his deck. Actually played a role in one of those games, too, that we did watch. See, Vang's going to go up to 2. I think he's gonna Hero's Downfall that now. Get that thing out of the way. Scry, trigger from Reaper. We'll see if he does remember it or not, if he wants to keep Sphinx on top. He says, let's put that to the bottom. Top card now is a Kiora, the Crashing Wave.
Kiora is very good here for T, as eventually Jeff's going to find some threat to try to finish off the game.
Yep. What's it going to take for that card to see more play? I need it. I need Kiora in my life.
I think Jace, Architect of Thought, and Friends rotating out of Standard. Or a block constructed tournament. That's what it's going to take.
All right. Here's a Courser from Hoogland. Don't forget, he does have Underworld Connections too, so he can really start to draw some cards and catch back up here. Top card's an Overgrown Tomb.
Courser plus Underworld Connections is just a great synergy. It's excellent. Courser gives you the life that you need for Underworld Connections, and you can also, you know, draw a spell when it's on top to try to find another land. It's a great synergy.
Hoogland, I think, deciding if he wants to play this tapped or untapped. It looks like he's going to go with untapped, so he's only going to end up taking one because of Courser.
My understanding is that Jeff actually gets to see what the top card of the deck is before determining whether or not he wants to play the Tomb untapped. I could be wrong.
I believe that is incorrect.
That is incorrect?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the way that it is on Magic Online, and it shouldn't be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is why. All right. That explains it.
Yeah. I'm surprised, too, that Magic Online has something wrong, but here we are. Another Courser going to come in. There's a Thoughtseize. I don't know why you're laughing.
Something unrelated.
Yeah.
I was thinking about something else.
See, a life will be gained here from T.
And even though this looks bad for Jeff, he has a lot of time, and he is drawing to 3 main deck copies of Rakdos Return. That just ends the game. I thought that Alpha Strike a few turns ago might have been a little hasty, but with 3 Rakdos Returns and a lot of life to play with, it makes some sense.
And some card draw, too.
Yep.
There's a Life Bane. See what this card is. Just an Overgrown Tomb, so nothing doing there. See the Hero's Downfall atop of Hoogland's deck. That's the information that Vang has available. Now the question is, what's he going to do with it? He's going to start by attacking here for 4. Again, he does have some Planeswalkers in his hand, just unable to deploy them yet, and pass the turn back over to Hoogland. Hoogland's going to activate Underworld Connections. He's going to go down to 7. He's going to draw that Hero's Downfall. We'll see what the top card is for him. It's a copy of Herald of Torment. That's going to actually let him go to the skies here if he thinks it's safe.
It's not a bad spot to, you know, even if T has a removal spell, it's not like the game's over. You still have your creature back on defense.
Yeah, he still has the, he gets the Herald too if that dies. So here's this. You see T has a Dissolve in his hand that he can't cast, and here's an attack, and that is going to do it. So Jeff Hoogland with a top deck, Herald of Torment, is going to get the job done here. Jund Bestow, that is correct. Jund Bestow does win game number 1 here for Hoogland.
Playing against another deck he's put a lot of work into, some bug control lists.
Yeah. Let's look at the sideboards here. We're going to start with Vang's sideboard, which does have 3 copies of Ashiok, Nightmare Weaver, an Aetherling, a Witch Stalker, 2 Golgari Charms, an Ultimate Price, a Doomblade, 3 copies of Notion Thief, and 3 Mistcutter Hydras.
3 Notion Thieves.
That's a lot of those.
Someone means business.
Let's see. What do we like here? I guess, how do you sideboard against the Jund Bestow deck you've never seen before?
Golgari Charms have to be good.
Those have to be good. Ultimate Price. We saw Courser. We saw Herald.
Yeah, there's enough. We've seen enough. Spiteful Returned. We've seen enough for Ultimate
That's enough for that one to come in. Doomblade probably stays on the bench. Mistcutter Hydra not for this matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if Ashiok's good here.
Yeah, I think that Ashiok is pretty good against creature decks that are a little slow out of the gate. It's pretty easy to go Ashiok plus it, get a 2 or 3 mana creature that matters because Jeff's deck is full of just quality stuff, and then play it the next turn. Even if that's all the value you get out of it, then that's still pretty good use of resources. And it commands some amount of resources, whether it's attacking or removal spells or whatever, for Jeff to ultimately get it out of play.
Then there's like this one Witch Stalker that might seem a little bit strange, but I think that can actually do a nice job of blocking and or attacking since they can't be killed. So maybe we see that join us as well. You've got Hooglands in front of you. I hope there's some spice in that board.
3 Mistcutter Hydras, an Erebos God of the Dead, 2 Underworld Connections, 3 Golgari Charms, 2 Putrefies, 2 Doomblades, 2 Devour Fleshes. I think that he wants the additional creature removal. We have seen Courser and Reaper of the Wilds demand some sort of response. Wouldn't surprise me to see Devour Flesh come in, as T has Sylvan Caryatid. He has some creatures that are challenging to kill. He has Prognosis Sphinx that we've seen. So Devour Flesh could be really good here. The rest of the cards I'm not sure if he really wants. I mean, it's all a lot of targeted removal, and it's not clear that T has a ton of targets for it. He also has more anti-control, card drawing and card advantage sources and discard spells, but the bug control deck's fully capable of just going beatdowns. So I'm not sure if he really wants any of his more precise tools in this matchup, but I think the Devour Flushes are pretty safe to bring in.
I think the thing I generally enjoy most about this particular matchup that we're watching between T and Jeff is that Jeff, oddly enough, has like a pretty good idea of what he's playing against, because this is basically one of his decks. And I think for most of the day, T's going to play against people, and they're not really going to know what he's up to.
Right.
But Jeff knows exactly what he's up to, because this is essentially a Jeff Hoogland brew. There are some cosmetic changes, but he knows exactly what's going on. For T has no idea what he's playing against from Jeff's deck.
Yeah, he has a bit of an idea now, but
Yeah.
And only 2 copies of Witchstalker in Jeff's deck. Really critical in that game, ducking targeted removal for a little while.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with you. We saw the power of Spiteful Return there. I don't know exactly how much damage it dealt. It felt like in between 7 to 10.
Well, that also depends. Like, what do you count when he puts it on his 3/3 and now Courser can't block?
That's true.
That's 6 damage that otherwise would have been 0 if it was just Witchstalker against.
Yeah, that's true.
So there was 1 uncontested attack, that's 3. The Witchstalker attack, that's 6. Then there were the Alpha Strikes, which is another 1 plus 2 plus. I don't know. It's a lot. It's more than 10 damage got dealt that game through those creatures.
That card, I'm with you. Even though it's just a 2-mana 1/1, its flexibility and the fact. I mean, 2 damage is, the way that it's basically a 2-mana 3/3. Essentially, now obviously there's some things that make it a 2-mana 1/1, but for all intents and purposes, it feels like it's a 2-mana 3/3, and it can attack into Sylvan Caryatid and not care. Against a deck like Esper or Blue Eye Control, it seems like it's a real nightmare for them if it's able to get in 2 shots, which the 2-mana creatures, especially when you're on the play, get the chance to do a lot.
Yeah, and in some cases, it's a lot better than a 2-mana 3-power creature, because when your opponent has a 4/4 on defense, a 3/3 is worth very little, but a Spiteful Return is still a Magic card.
Yeah. I like it. I want to find a home for it.
If that was a red card, there would be 4 copies in my standard list right now.
Yeah.
For sure. Black doesn't have quite the same amount of tools to leverage that kind of effect, but there's still, Rakdos Cacklers and Tormented Heroes and Painseers and Herald of Torment. There's a base for a black aggressive deck.
Just put them together. Just smush them together. Give me a red-black deck like Keter had last weekend.
And your matchup against Blue Devotion has to be better, because you get access to Doomblades and Heroes Downfalls.
Yeah, so you're just not dead to Master of Waves, which is a huge bonus.
Yeah, you can actually kill stuff, which is nice too.
And if there's anyone who knows what it's like to be dead to Master of Waves, I think I'm with the king in the booth.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think just one night you're gonna come back to the hotel room. I'm just gonna have a bunch of Master Waves just all over your bed.
Yeah.
If you go to sleep.
If there was a clip, if you could make a YouTube video with me just right-click conceding against Master Waves, it would be like a 15-minute video. Just Master Waves on the stacks and me right-clicking and conceding.
Yeah, no more. Thank you.
I've seen enough.
Temple of Malice here from Hoogland. He's gonna do some scrying. You saw Vang lead off with just a breeding pool tapped. Why does it have protection from red? Nobody knows.
It's fine. No, well, there's kind of a cycle going on of, Stormbreath Dragon has protection from white. There's a little of that going on in the block.
Yeah, I guess there's not enough fire to take down all that water or something. I'm no flavor judge. We'll have to get Ben Stark on the phone.
I don't mind expensive, powerful pro-color creatures. The core Firewalkers of the world feel like they end the game too fast, but when I lose to Master of Waves, it's, they did some work. They had to get to 4 mana. There was a game that got played for a little bit.
Fair enough. It does end the game very quickly, though. Here's a Reaper of the Wilds on turn 3 from T.
Oh, I'm not saying I don't lose 100% of the time, because I lose 100% of the time. I'm just saying I am frustrated less by it than by certain other creatures that have fulfilled that role in the past.
An Overgrown Tomb and a Hero's Downfall, along with attack here for 2. Puts Vang down to 18.
Great start for Jeff here, getting some pressure in play and critically having access to all the colors of mana that he needs. He has double green and double black and red mana, so his needs are fulfilled mana-wise.
I really can't ask for too much more. Really off to a really nice start, as Vang is going to start here with a Thoughtseize on his 4th turn. Let's see the grip. You got a Spiteful Return, a Desecration Demon, a Herald of Torment, a Courser of Crewfix, and a Swamp. So hand a little bit all over the place, but a lot of powerful cards there.
Oh, this is a great hand, Spiteful Return and Herald of Torment, those pair up nicely. Desecration Demon is just individually good. And also this Thoughtseize, Hand of All Creatures, T also needs to answer the Scavenging Ooze.
Yep.
So that's incidentally going to open up a hole for Jeff to resolve one of these creatures or bestow onto something else.
T going to play another copy of Reaper of the Wilds before passing the turn back here. So Hoogland's going to untap. He'll take a draw. And that's another Hero's Downfall right off the top. He's going to play a Swamp first, and then he's going to grow the Scavenging Ooze.
Also a very good draw here, as Reaper of the Wilds getting to untap and then having Hexproof mana is a little bit of an annoyance for Jeff. This is much better for him, of course.
And Vang going to draw. Play a land tapped here. See if he's got anything sweet to do. He's just going to pass the turn back. Has Hero's Downfalls at the ready. 2 of them you see in his hand right now that he's flipping back and forth between. Those will be taxed, though, because Hoogland does have a lot of cards in his hand that are creatures. Hero's Downfall going to take care of the use. That's problem number 1. There's, of course, of Crewfix looking to get a little card advantage going. Hero's Downfall there, the card that's revealed.
And the bestow stuff just gives Jeff so much durability against random spot removal.
Yeah. See, Temple's going to come into play. A little bit of life gain here. Hoogland's not even going to bother scrying because he says, I definitely want the Hero's Downfall. See if Vang's going to draw a card. It's a copy of Breeding Pool.
Yeah, Jeff is definitely in a position now where he can exhaust spot removal, so he just wants to have insurance against random creatures coming off the top.
You have to imagine that's what makes Hoogland's deck pretty good against, decks that try to 1-for-1 you like a mono black type deck. This deck probably just crushes those type of things because 1-for-1 removal is just whatever. All right, you killed my Courser, I've still got a Herald Torment.
Yeah, if Jeff's not under the gun, once he has mana to get all this set up, all of his threats are very individually powerful.
Yeah, seems really, really tough to overcome. Hoogland gonna now bestow a Spiteful Return. This is a dissolve. It's gonna counter that. But Hoogland is still left with the Herald Torment. Top card's gonna go to the bottom here for T.
And you're seeing some of the power with Jeff's deck here. If that Spiteful Return gets on Herald Torment, it's a disaster for T. And if it doesn't, this is still fine.
There's an Ashiok. That's a card that can actually do a little something here. So it's gonna turn over a Rakdos, Return of Force, and Abrupt Decay. So not the best reveal. Hoogland gonna untap the Herald. It's gonna lose 1 here. Take a draw. Does have an Abrupt Decay at the ready for the Ashiok. It's gonna start by attacking. Probably just gonna go upstairs to Vang. Not bother with the Ashiok.
Yeah, he may have answered it if it actually revealed something of consequence, but no rush to get Ashiok off the table right now.
And there's Desecration Demon gonna pass the turn back, basically presenting lethal right now as Vang will draw a card. He's going to Ashiok here. Ashiok's going to take up to 7. Witch Stalker, along with 2 lands. You see Jeff's going to move that over for Vang. And the off chance that he does get to use Ashiok here, Vang just going to pass the turn. So Hoogland's going to untap. He's going to take a draw. It's a forest. You see the hand of Abrupt Decay and Hero's Downfall.
And T is just dealing with a lot of disconnected pieces here. There's not a clear game plan or path going on right now.
Abrupt Decay, Abrupt Decay at the ready. We'll see if he uses it, and he does. You see the attack there for 3. Vang down to 4, facing lethal, draws his card. It's a Courser of Crewfix. It's going to come into play. And Vang does have a land in his hand, so he can go up to 5, but we'll see what the top card is, and that's a Thoughtseize. Ugh.
Yeah, that cements it here.
Yeah. As good as Thoughtseize is, it's not going to get the job done. Hoogland's going to show a Hero's Downfall to take care of the Courser. And that is going to do it. So Jeff Hoogland is going to win this match over T. Vang 2-0, and Jun Bestow, that's correct, Jun Bestow is 3-0 here in Milwaukee.
Quite honestly, this is a Golgari deck that's just touching Rakdos Return. And he must really want Rakdos Return to be willing to go through the trouble of all the lands he has to add to cast that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it almost feels like a bit of a free roll. That's not actually true, of course, because he's playing, Temple of Malice, Temple of Abandon.